Hey, I'm Shauna. Today is Tuesday, and this is Good News Only, the show where we celebrate the stories that uplift and inspire and brings us all together every weekday at 10:30 a.m. We are recapping the good news only, the feel-good headlines, the community and the local wins that bring a little more light to your day. And I want to hear from you too. So if something good is happening in your world, a personal victory, a community success, a birthday, or just something that made you smile, send me an email to news25 at week.com and be sure to put Hey Shauna, that's SHAUNA, in the subject line so I know it's for me. I would love to share your good news right here on the show, and today's show is full of good news as always. For starters, today at 1 p.m., we are celebrating our 100th episode of Good News Only. This here at 10:30 is our 99th episode. So we are preparing with our balloons and we're going to have cake later at 1 o'clock to celebrate 100 episodes. And if you are not new here, then you know from whence we came. It has been a long time coming. We've had lots and lots of changes since July when we started this, which is our actual birthday. So we've had lots of changes. Things have really grown, and we are still growing since our first episode. And this is our 99th. So we're going to celebrate it. It's worth celebrating the time that we have spent together, and it's worth celebrating all of the good news. I'm thinking about how many stories go into each episode and have gone into each episode because those have increased as well. I think we started out with like 6-minute episodes, and so that 6 minutes was like four stories maybe, as we were trying to get our feet under us and really figure out what this was. And all of those episodes we've increased now. I think at one point we were doing 16 stories in one episode, a 30-minute episode, and I think now we're at between 6 and 7, sometimes 8 stories, and that's each twice a day, each day. And we're talking 100 episodes, so that is however many, right? Because we haven't calculated it up, and we all know that math is not my strong suit, so we're not even going to pretend, okay? But that it all adds up to so many good news stories. It's that much good news, and there's plenty more good news out there that we have not talked about. Good news that you have not shared with me yet. Good news stories that you have shared with me. That just goes to show that we have an abundance of good news. There's good happening all around us, and the fact that we've been able to do technically over 100 episodes, but officially 100 episodes of good news stories. It's just proof that there's tons of good news always happening, always around us, and we have plenty to be thankful for, plenty to share, be excited about, and celebrate. So that's what we are doing all day today, is celebrating. And then again, we will celebrate our official 100th episode at 1 o'clock. Leon will be back as always to celebrate because he and I worked on this. We started this show together. So we're going to celebrate with all of you together. So we'll have more good news after the break. But before we go to break, let me tell you what else we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about, Peoria has a Peoria Con. I didn't know that. So we're going to talk about that. See what happened down to the Peoria Con over the weekend. And West Peoria had a parade. We were wondering why so many people were in West Peoria and out and about town so early in the morning over the weekend, and I found out why. And then we're going to be talking about another person who is celebrating a right here at home. Right here, who's celebrating a 100th milestone of their own. That's a really sweet story. So I hope that you will stay tuned for that one. And then we're going to be talking about Jesse Jackson and the tribute that was paid to him in Selma. And we'll have all that good news and more after the break. Hey, sorry. Is what is that? Is that for? Is that just what is that? Why is that there? Okay, so we went to break, but then that popped up before we went to break on there. So it must be back. Maybe it's back, but I didn't know if we're not if that meant it was just us, or if it was whatever the host of the thing is. So I'm still there. Okay, thank you. I'm paying attention 100%. Okay. Welcome back to more good news only. So, fans of comics and collectibles and pop culture packed the Peoria Civic Center this weekend for the annual Peoria Con convention. I didn't even know that this happened. Tay's boyfriend would have probably liked to attend this. He's into all that kind of stuff. And not that I'm not, I just am not in that world. But this looked like it was pretty interesting and looked like something I would have enjoyed. If you went, let me know what you thought about it, what you did when you were there. Let me know if you bought anything interesting. News25WEK.com. Make sure you put Hey Shauna in the subject line so I know it's for me. And also, don't forget you can follow me on Facebook at 25 News Good News Only. Let me know what you thought of this event. I think it's something I might like to attend next year. So attendees spent the weekend enjoying panels, workshops, and seminars focused on comics, gaming, and entertainment culture. Convention goers also had the chance to meet special guests and get autographs from some of their favorite characters and creators. Around 130 vendors filled the convention floor, offering everything from rare collectibles to pop culture merchandise. So that was great. One of the biggest highlights was the cosplay contest. That would have been fun, I'm sure, featuring elaborate costumes and even a surprise appearance by one of the Red Power Rangers. That would have been fun. So, drawing cheers from fans of all ages. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about my favorite Power Ranger, and I would have to say my favorite Power Ranger was the yellow one. What was your favorite Power Ranger growing up? I would have to say mine was the yellow one, maybe a little bit the pink one. She was okay, but I really enjoyed the yellow Power Ranger. Let me know who your favorite Power Ranger was, which one. My sister and I always joke when we are being particularly mischievous that my siblings and I are the Power Rangers. Very funny. But let me know who your favorite Power Ranger was. I would like to compare notes. So organizers say that the convention continues to grow every year and is quickly becoming a beloved Peoria tradition. How awesome was that? So West Peoria kicked off a nice I think it was our fourth annual, but it was really nice. It looks like it was very nice. Their St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's also known locally as the West Side Parade. The event takes place a week ahead of Peoria's larger parade and is designed to celebrate the holiday while supporting local businesses. I think that's always great. Nearly 3 dozen businesses participated this year, bringing floats, families, and festive green decorations to the route. The idea originally came from the owner of Jimmy's Bar and has grown into a community tradition thanks to strong local support. Even with rainy, windy, and cold weathers, families still lined the streets to catch candy, watch floats, and celebrate together. We noticed, myself and a friend of mine noticed that it was very busy in West Peoria over the weekend, especially early morning Saturday, and we had no idea. Now, in my opinion, West Peoria is always awake pretty early and busy, but I was not out, but a friend of mine was out at the time we were on the phone. And they were saying it's a lot of people. It's busy, busy, busy. And I kept saying they're always busy. I had no idea just how busy they actually were. So it looks like it was all for a good cause, and it looks like families had a really good time. So congratulations on an event that seems to have been a success. And in Morton, this is really sweet. We have another person who is celebrating a 100th milestone. So in Morton, a beloved community member celebrated an incredible milestone. Her name is Fern Zimmerman. She turned 100 years old, surrounded by family and friends. Zimmerman grew up as the middle child of 10 siblings. My mom is the middle child of 10 siblings. But 10 siblings on a farm, so did my mom, in Congerville, and she later raised three children of her own. That is so funny. My mom grew up on a farm. She was the middle of 10 children, and then she raised three children of her own. Hopefully, she will also live to be 100 years old. Her celebration took place at Parkside, a Christian retirement center where hundreds gathered to honor her life. One highlight of the celebration was Grace Through Decades, where each of her nine grandchildren created posters highlighting moments from different decades of her life. That is such a creative idea. I love the thought of that. So Zimmerman, and I'm sure it helped them learn some things that they didn't know about her, discover some cool things, and I'm sure that had to be very surreal, but in a good way, to look back at the moments that other people felt were significant in your life, but then also moments that you felt were significant. And then some of those ones that maybe you thought, but somebody else is pointing out as a big deal to be celebrated. What a loved woman. So Zimmerman says being surrounded by family means everything to her, and she credits activity and her faith for her long life. So just always being active. She says she still attends services at Grace Church in Morton, and says being a mother remains one of her greatest blessings. Look at that. She is a loved woman, and she obviously seems like a woman who loves very well. So congratulations and happy birthday to her. And the annual Selma March commemoration included a tribute this year to civil rights leader Reverend Jesse Jackson, who died February 17th at the age 84. Jackson worked closely with Martin Luther King Jr. and became one of the nation's most recognized voices for voting rights and equality. He also ran twice for president and spent decades advocating for economic justice and civil rights. Jackson was a regular presence at the Selma anniversary marches honoring the historic fight for voting rights. His youngest son, Yusuf Jackson, says his father's mission and legacy will continue through future generations and activists. So rest his soul. And I'm glad they did that. I love that when the things people and the organizations people love when they are here in this part of life, remember them and honor them for their dedication to those things and those people. It always makes it seem to me like it's not in vain, all of their hard work and dedication. So, congrats to him for living a life well lived, and one that people want to remember. And so, wow, we are moving through fast today. Spring is just around the corner. And so, I wanted to tell you about the cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C. Yes, in Washington, D.C. I'll tell you when we come back from the break all about them because, listen, they are not here. No, they're not. But we need to travel. Wouldn't you say we need to travel? There's no reason we can't get out and about and go other places and experience new things and bring those experiences back here right at home. You know, whether we benefit from those new experiences by just getting out and being refreshed and renewed, right? And then coming back and being positive and productive and optimistic in our own communities, or we have those experiences and we bring ideas and imagination that was sparked from those experiences right back here home to others and into our community. So I'm going to tell you about those cherry blossoms. I've gone to Washington, D.C. and experienced the cherry blossoms. I think, yeah, we did. My daughter, my godmother, and my god sister, we all had a picnic under the cherry blossom trees. It was really nice. It was a sweet experience. My daughter was, I think she might have been 10 or 11 at the time. So I think it was an experience that I know for sure she won't forget. We also rode bikes. We went on a bike ride through Capitol Hill. That was fun for her. So it's stuff like that that just breeds positivity. And so I just like to try and tell you about the positive side of life outside of home, in addition to the things that we talk about that are definitely happening here at home, so that we can grow. Experiences are how we grow. It's what keeps us young and spry and positive. So when we come back from break, we will talk about that. We'll talk about an interesting canine story. It's a crime involving a stuffed toy, so that'll be fun. A nice light way to end the show today. So we'll talk about that when we come back from break. And I'll also tell you about a sweet little surprise I had yesterday after the 1 o'clock show. So you don't want to miss that. We'll be back right after the break. Welcome back to Good News Only. So, as I stated before the break, I'm going to tell you about the cherry blossoms in Washington. So, spring is just around the corner in our nation's capital. And so that means that cherry blossoms are expected to reach peak bloom between March 29th and April 1st. Perfect time for a good spring break getaway. The National Park Service says those dates could shift slightly depending on weather conditions. And then once they bloom, the famous blossoms usually stay on the trees for 7 to 10 days. It was a sight to be seen. It was very beautiful. We had a picnic around this area. I believe. Yes, it was. It was this area. But it was really sweet. It was so fun. And again, I think, well, then my daughter and my sister rode bikes around this area too in this little park. It was the sweetest little fun little funnest experience we had, I think, in Washington. Out of all the things we went and did, we went to the Smithsonian, we went to several museums, but this was a great experience. So it's something to do with the kids, and it's like a nice, calm family moment kind of situation after you finish exploring the city. So the beloved tradition dates back to 1912 when Japan gifted the United States 3,000 cherry trees as a symbol of friendship. And I always think about Japan when I see these trees just because I think of the movie Memoirs of a Geisha, which is one of my favorites. Beautiful movie, and it just always puts me in the mind of Japan and that film. And so it's just something to go and see in person. It's a nice lifetime experience today. The blooms draw visitors from around the world each spring to celebrate the arrival of the season. I think that is a great way to celebrate. And finally, to end the show on a light note, one Ohio sheriff's office is jokingly investigating a crime involving a stuffed toy. So, Canine Deputy Moby is the top suspect in the destruction of a lamb squeak toy at the Lucas County Sheriff's Office. So, investigators say there were no signs of forced entry, but stuffing was found scattered across the floor, and authorities say the evidence points to temptation. Points to temptation. The squeaky toy may simply have been too much for Moby to resist. The department shared the playful investigation online, giving the good boy a little time in the doghouse. He tore the toy up. Well, that should brighten your day. We'll be back with more good news after the break. Hi, how are you?
What's the 100?
100 episodes.
100 episodes?
Yep, at 1 o'clock today, that'll be our. Yep, at 1 o'clock will be 100 episodes.
That's a good milestone for you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Hey, Sean.
Definitely. Hi.
Happy 100.
Thank you. Welcome back to Good News Only. So that's a wrap for me today. Now I want to hear from you. Please go to news25 at WEEK.com and let me know what you thought about today's show. In the meantime, be sure to check out the midday newscast and meet me back here today at 1 p.m. today for our 100th episode. We have just wrapped episode 99 and now we are moving on to episode 100 today at 1 p.m. Join us for the celebration. There will be cake. I'm Shauna for 25 News. Have a wonderful morning.